Okay, I'm going to get to the point. And here's the point. I have generic macros open. Very few of you have ever touched this generic macros. Of course, it's on the very, very first page of my website. Am I getting to the point? Maybe I'm not getting to the point. I'm very nervous about getting to the point. I'll explain why in a minute, but you can get it right here. You can get this generic macros right here. What you do is you open it and it's got a bunch of macros that work in other sheets. And I made a macro. And I made a macro that does what a lot of you either pay money to do or you don't do, or you get this thing called Explode or whatever in the heck it is, and it just will explain the formulas. And I did it hopefully a little differently. And the big deal about the way I did it is that you can modify all this yourself. It's totally open source. It's totally just VBA. And I made alternate U. I'm pressing alternate U right now. And if you press this one, now these names are all kind of I made up. I just made up some examples. And if you, it says, well, this sheet is D5 divided in this sheet, D5 divided by that. And you can press this control square bracket in Excel, or of course you can use your blue arrows. But this one, what I do is as soon as I find it, I'll go to the left and let's find the first time we hit some text and just make a formula out of it. So I just make a formula out of it. And then you can dig deeper. So I want to dig into this unit 1, this D5, this is sheet 5, D3. And then it just takes you to that formula. And it puts the formula names again. And then maybe I want to go to this one, and that's just an input. This is just an input. And then we can go back. And here's how I decided to make this. I wasted a lot of time, and you might think, I've got these other programs that are much better than this. And of course, if I said of course, which was absolutely absurd, so let me go all the way back. I have this formula, and it's tricky. I'm going to explain a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of the details here. And I'm going to get to another point. This is for when you're auditing another person's model or your own model. And if you want to just say, let's just go to that cell, you just click over here and it just takes you to that cell. And then you can press the old handy F5 and it'll take you back. Now, when you do this, it's really hard. Now, the reason I got so nervous about this is I got this very nice email, this very nice response from somebody named Isabel, who told me, she told me, this video's terrible. You take entirely too long to get to the point. The video could have been condensed if you just got to the point. I've hated to pay money to present this information. I couldn't even finish the video. I'm so mad. Oh my God. Isabella. Oh no. Okay, so I hope I got to the point. That's the point. And here's the point. You can do this. There are a whole lot of different ways to do this. And let me get back to the real reason that I wasted my time making this. Okay, again, I'm just going back and forth on it, and you can try it. Open generic macros. I've got to upload it right after I make this video. Alternate U. This is alternate U in generic macros. And the idea is you can move things around. And the much bigger idea is you can go to the VBA, you can go to the VBA code by yourself and you can change everything, okay? And when you do that, when you go to the VBA code by yourself, you can change the way the screen works. It's just called a user form, and you can change the code, and you can do whatever you want with the code, so you're not limited. Of course, I said of course again, which was an idiotic thing to do. Perhaps you put an X here. If you put an X here, then what will happen is this will give you an X. and you don't like this. And maybe then you want to say, you put a little if statement. If it's not an X, then do it. And I'm not going to make that change for you right now, but you can, by giving you the code, you can, number one, learn a little bit of, uh, of how to use some VBA. I think it's a good little thing to practice on it. And it even took me, I kind of wasted time, and I was doing this while I was drinking a little bit of wine, and I kind of lost my way a little bit. And I'm going to just pause the video and show you what prompted this whole thing, and hopefully show you some other ideas on how to really. Okay, so here's why I kind of made this. I was looking at a formula in, this is called if in the US, the National Renewable Energy, whatever it is. And they had this formula. And then the first thing, I want to give you some ideas. If you just put equal formula text, they didn't have this a couple of Excels ago. And I used to make this kind of stuff myself. Look at me being kind of arrogant. Maybe this is why Isabella got so pissed. The You can get this, and then if you want to go one by one, you could. Here's what I did, but you could do it better. I'm going to go up here. I put in, how about an equal sign and just put S52, okay? And then I can put equal formula text here, or no, let me do it like this. Formula text equal, and I'm going to go to S52. And I'm trying to understand what's in S52. And down here, S52, that's the capital recovery factor. Now, I suppose I should show you kind of why this might not work. And maybe I put it up here. And then you can, let's just put up here. Let's just go to S52. Let's just press a F5 and go to S52. Okay, and then you can press enter. All right, and then you could put equal formula text, and then you could go here. And then I'm going to show you why this is not perfect. This is the real PMT factor. So you could even put you could even go to the, let's press F5 and go to S52. I'm all nervous, that I'm doing this. And then we can go to O52. And then I'm going to document this, and I'm going to put equal formula text, and I'm going to put O52. Now you can say, oh, why did you do that? It gives me an NA. I think it's because, okay, I had to edit it, and I want to get to the point, right? I got to get to the point. Now, so this is a LCOE thing. Somebody complained about my LCOE stuff too. Why are you worried about that? And I think that Elsa, whatever, or Isabel complained about it too, so whatever. I'm not going to go through it. This goes through US tax law and goes through the carrying charges with tax rates, and it's on the disk somewhere, and I've got some formulas like this. Look at this formula. I tried to put a little thing on the side, but even if you don't, this says, okay, now I can see what it is. It's the required rate of return plus the WACC. The WACC is 87, so let me look at 87, and then I can see, 87 is the required real IRR. It's 1 minus the whatever, and it's got 87, 86, and 87, 74. It's this divided by that, so I can go to that one. And that's an input, but then maybe I want to go back. Okay, let's change, did I do 83 last time? Oh, this says it's degradation. I've got to adjust by the degradation. Hopefully, you can kind of go back and forth. Now, the reason I did this file was for Sasha. Okay, and he wants to do, all he wants to do is go thing. And I've told you many times that I believe in the control square bracket. Whoops, control square bracket and F5 system. I think it's beautiful. And most of your formulas should work with that. But here's the problem with that. If you press control square bracket and it's only going to go to the 57, it's only going to go to the first one. And that's okay. So if we press, so again, this is my point. This is what I'm trying to make the point. If you do this one and you want to go to 56 instead of 57, then of course you can just find where that is, and then you can use the F5 rule. So the reason I did this first, oh, I was already there, and maybe there was a little problem with that one, and there will be problems. This is not supposed to be perfect. It is supposed to allow you to change things and do what you want. And it's supposed to get you addicted the way I was to these little things. Well, it's not good to be addicted to this crap, is it? But, and it's not good to drink while you work on this stuff either. But you can take and adjust this. You can put these things up here. You can put this formula up here. You can delete this formula. You can make this one smaller. You can put this one as a different color. It should be smaller anyway. You could even make it flexible. So if it's a really long formula, you can make it smaller. I haven't done that, and I will do some of that based on your feedback. All I was trying to do was for Sasha, when he wants to go to a cell, okay, can I do, when I press F5, see, I'm going to have to fix it. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Oh, shit. What did I do now? Function F5. Maybe I have to go to the, oh, well, whatever. Okay, maybe I have to go to something else. Shit. All I was trying to do was make a control and square bracket. Now, the other thing I hate about this square bracket is if I want to use a lookup, I want to find the lookup. Now, it's, if you're used to this, the lookup, oh God, I hope it's not going to mess up just a minute. The lookup is, just a minute. Look, I have to go back to this one. The lookup here, if you press control and square bracket, see, it's not perfect. It goes to the top. It goes to the number 1. And I don't give a crap about that. I want it to go to the 33. If you press alternate U, I made it go. I have to go down and up a little. I made it go to the 33, and I don't take you through that whole thing, Jimmer, whatever at the top. I did it again. Okay, so that's, come on, I'm trying to just press function F5. Okay, so we go back. And that works with the SUMIF too. Did I put the SUMIF down here? These are all, you know, these are all the formula text stuff. Let's look at this one. It says, if I press control and square bracket, it takes me to the top. And I want it to go to 33. I want it to go to 33 instead. I kind of cheated just now, by the way. And then if I press function alternate U, it'll take me right to where I want. Function F5 takes me back. Okay, that's the idea. Now you could put that in the screen. So Sasha couldn't find the, and my friend named, see, I have some friends, Isabel, not everybody hates me. Marcelo, he's so cool. He wanted to, we're working on a project and we've got a whole lot of inputs. Let me pause it just for a minute and show you that. Now we made all of these inputs. Here I switched to a biomethane, my biomethane thing. And we put all our menus in from the generic macros. We colored all the sheets from the generic macros, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then he went down here, and I said, well, okay, this factor, we were struggling with this factor. First of all, maybe we'll just do a normal old one. These formulas, I need to find something a little more complicated. If I press alternate U, it's a long thing. So the total km traveled is the travel per day times the traveled per year times the weeks. Oh God, it's a lot of this stuff here. Okay, and then we oh, these are long things, and then we can go and find out what the distance traveled per day is, what the daily whatever operation of the truck. I can't remember any of this stuff, obviously. Let's try one more. This is this one, and we can go and look at this one. We can go back. We can select the cell. I'm going to exit out of here. And the real problem he had is on his Italian computer, he couldn't find the control square bracket. So instead of control square bracket, he has to get alternate U, and then he has to just do this, and he can see exactly where all the inputs comes from. Okay, and I suppose we could have very easily made another version of this, which doesn't go through this whole rigmarole, which just goes straight to here. We can make a little option for that. All right, so I hope I've given you a little thing. Now, this is not guaranteed, and it's not supposed to be guaranteed. It's not supposed to work in every single situation. Okay, and okay, let's go back to our LCOE scenarios. I just got to do a couple more. Alt U. We can go here, we can go back, and it's working for most of these. And these are the first time I've tried it on these different sheets. I was really nervous that you'd give me another one of those commentaries that I got. God, has that affected me, huh? And then, so what happened with this? Pre-tax WACC. What is the pre-tax WACC? It's the pre-tax interest rate times the debt percent times this times the minimum IRR. Oh, what's the minimum? What's the debt? Oh, that's an input. That's probably an input. Actually, this what was the equity percent is 1 minus the debt percent. What's the debt percent? Well, that's an input right there. And then you can just go to that input if you want. It's kind of silly and kind of obvious, but that's the kind of stuff you can do. Now, let's get you hopefully addicted. But before we do that, I'm going to make a little bit of a new sheet. Okay. And in that new sheet, I'm going to put one. And here's the point I'm making. Here's the point I'm making. Here's the point I'm making. LDIS. Let's go to 10. I'm just going to show you a couple of other things in the generic macros. Let's go from 1 to 5 to 7. And let's put 10, 20, 30. And let's over here put a lookup. Now, you know that if I do this and we would put equal lookup, and I've told you so many times, and if you don't believe my proofs, well, I really tried to be objective that this business doesn't take any longer. And if you have the generic macros open, the lookup, it goes control right arrow. But let's say I want to interpolate. Now, he tells me, this is another good thing about this. If I press Control Alt C, Control Alt C, Control Alt C to get the menu, come on. I don't know why I just had to initialize, but I did. And then I press this import functions. And then I say, no, I'm going to take it from this one, but for this one, I'm going to go down to book 1. And I'm going to retrieve the interpolate function. And that's all I have to do. And as soon as I do that, interpolate lookup is right here. And then I can say, oh, let's take this one and we'll use it exactly like the lookup. And we'll do that. Okay. And now we've got a little bit of interpolation, and maybe I'll put 10 here and put 40 or something like that. Okay, enough of that. So that's the interpolate function, but let's do a couple of more. Let's say that, let's put some cash flow here. And let's say we have negative 100 and then 34, 21, 15, 14, 25, and that's enough. Enough of that. And now I want the payback. Control Alt C. I go to import functions and I don't try to do it myself. I put the sheet I'm going in and then I find, oh, here, retrieve the payback. And then I say, okay, I'll put payback. And we'll put equal payback. And then we get exactly the right number. You can go check it. And if I put minus 80, then it gives me a little minus 120. So we can get the payback right away. We can fix some of these things in Excel. I don't know why Excel doesn't have it. And then it gives the payback. Oh, it gives each one. I didn't know that. But we can go back and we can exit. Okay. Yep. And then we can, of course, do the, let's try this one. I have no idea what this one's going to show. I'm not going to look at that one. Okay. Let's do something else. Okay. Control Alt C. Now, I just had to, I had to stop it for a minute. We can get this one. This one is, we can get some depreciation and stable CapEx. Dynamic goal seek. This is the one that creates the sensitivities that Hetty uses, and I forgot how to use it. And this is some some NA that treats the NAs as zeros in the sum function. This add text function might be pretty good. Let's try that one. So if I go over here and have the test one, test two, income statement, balance sheet. And I'm getting to the point, hopefully I'm getting to the point. And this, if this is true, false. Oh no, my balance sheet's not balancing. And if you put a little if statement, if this is true, then take this one. Whoops, oh shit. If it's true, then you put a double thingamajig and then you go down here. So now we just have the balance sheet and we put equal add text. If I got it, I thought I got it. Equal add, I didn't. Control Alt C. I hope let's do this instead. On this one, we'll go to the developer, go to macros. I wish there's probably a way to do this that you automatically go to it. I didn't get the add text yet, so I have to press Control Alt C. I have to go to import functions. Maybe I put it in LCOE scenarios, who knows? And then I'm going to get the retrieve the add text function. And once I do that, I can put equal add text. And there might be something kind of like this in Excel these days. I can't quite figure it out. And if this is false, then we get another one. And we can put equal AND. And we get all of them. And we can put if it's true, then our model is okay. Otherwise, we take this one. And so if these are true, then we have that. Okay. And you remember we can also do this thing for putting all the contents in. That's with Control Alt C, and you just go to contents and you go to it again, and hopefully that you can do the coloring of the sheets, and I'm not going to go through that again. What I am going to show you, however, is for some of the people who are a little more nerdy and a little more crazy, you know, I did this alt U thing. Remember, it's alt U, and remember, this is going to be, the file is named generic macros, and it's going to be on the front of my website just as soon as I kind of get finished with this video. I made a little thing that says today. I wanted to get this done in one day. What an arrogant piece of idiot I am, because I'm stupid. And the only reason I hope, that's why I can't get to the point fast enough. And I have to explain things kind of slowly to really understand them. But what this does is it walks through, and the key thing, let's go back to our square, I call it the square bracket test. The key thing here is that when you do this, you want to find these names. Once you can find these names and split them apart, you can do just about anything. Okay, but it's a little bit tricky. And this example has a whole bunch of things you can do, and perhaps I can walk through it with you very, very quickly. Okay, and what we do is we start with, you start with just defining an active cell. This is just the cell where you are. You put the row and the column in, and then you find the formula that's in the cell, and that's your starting formula, and you put a little thing in. Notice that that's some other crap in here. And then what we're going to do is go through the whole kind of thing. Now, I put a whole bunch of debugs in here, and I've done this in that UDF function as well. But the really a big deal is you get the formula. Okay, this was up here. This was the starting formula, and you just have to remember this goes all the way at the top. Okay, and then you walk through some alternative possibilities, and you're not supposed to understand this immediately. I'm just trying to show you this, and my programming probably really sucks. Okay, but this gives you first have a section that, oh, let's say we find an input. And if we have something that's a number that's true. And you notice that we just use the regular old Excel functions. And if it's a formula, if it's not a formula here, if the formula is false and it is a number, well, that means it must be an input cell. And then you kind of mark what happens if it's an input cell. And then you do some stuff for this SUMIF and lookup, which I think I'm going to change anyway. So now I'm going to move to what happens if we find some of this stuff. Now, the big deal here is to put these operators in, and you do some, if it's an equal sign, you know you found a new C4 or H5 or AB7 or whatever it is. And you need to find all of those operators. And the first thing you do is you use the Excel direct precedence thing, but there's some really bad news here. This only works for cells in the same sheet. And what you need to do is get familiar, you don't need to do anything, but if you're getting addicted to this kind of crap, you use this split function. This split function is really nice, because what that split function does is it finds all the stuff. And perhaps I'll just do one thing with you here. If you want to really do some of this, and I hope you've turned off the Excel, the video right now. I hope you've turned it off. I hope you've turned it off. This is not getting to the point. This is babbling on and on. I admit that I babble on and on. Okay, I'm sorry about that. This time I'm gonna not skip the debug. We're gonna do we're gonna kind of do a debug. Now, if you have something where, notice these ones are all from the same kind of cell, from the same sheet, and then I can it's not working on the same sheet, so I put a number 1 in here. And what it does is it says here it found 4 precedents. And then what happens when you put it, it gives you a little thing with a colon and a comma and a colon and all that stuff. And then you use this split function to take this one, and you do one thing if it's a comma and something else if it's not a comma. And then look at this, then I go through too much crap, but then it finds these cells, and then you define. What you do is, once you've done this, you go to the VBA, and then you say, oh, okay, now I'm going to put the name of this function in. I got to get back to where I was. Where was I? I've got too many debugs here. It's a kind of a mess. Sorry about that. But you can. I debated on whether to leave these in or not leave them in for you. Once you find all the cells that's got a lot of junk there, what you do is you go around the first 20 columns. You could make that a variable and say how many columns do you really want to go around, and then you find the is text in that column, and then you stick that is text into a string, and that's what you print out at the end. And then you go and you have a few more problems because that Excel precedence doesn't work with other sheets. You have to go and find all the exclamation points. And I had trouble spelling that. Remove any sorry about this. Find all the exclamation points. If you found an exclamation point, you know you've got to get something. And then you've got to get rid of all the crap, the plus signs, the commas, and all that. And you can isolate on the strings, and then you can find the cell reference like C4 in sheet 2. And if you do one thing, if it's got a little comma, a little quotation, you do another thing. So it gets kind of a long thing, but you can change it all. You can do whatever the heck you want. And then when you finally get to the bottom, you make a little form. You make a user form, and in this user form, you order this and change this and move this and change this color, and maybe you don't want this to be like this or a different color. You can do all of that. It's all just right here in the generic macros. All you do is you go right click, and if you want to be a little fancier, you bet where did, okay, sorry about that. You go to this one and you go to square. How about that? Square bracket. That's what I call it because I was thinking about Sasha, the original reason all I wanted to do at first was to redo that square bracket test so it would work on Italian keyboards and German keyboards, because Sasha was really having trouble getting the Alt Shift right square bracket and all that stuff. And that's it. I'm going to stop making that video enough. And I promise to be in a little bit better mood next time, but I got kind of wasted some time on this. And I'm going to take the debug out. And I'm sure, again, I'm going to be modifying this in the future. But it was kind of funny. I'm an old man, for an old man to get this. And when you buy these other programs, I think a lot of these other programs charge you money, and they have their fancy little colors, and you can't change things for yourself. And a lot of times I don't know if you can really see the description of the formula, which was kind of the easiest part of doing that, but a really big deal. And if you have any suggestions, please send me a nice comment, not one of those asinine ones. All right, bye.